Can you imagine waking up in the middle of the night and seeing a stranger in your house threatening to harm you or your family? Now think about this. What if he had a gun and you didn't because guns are outlawed in America? Also, think about the situation of another economic depression. What if most of the stores and supermarkets shut down? People would have to resort to the old ways of living, hunting for their food. Guns make hunting much easier, but what if there were laws saying we couldn't own guns? The Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States, signed in 1787, states that a well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms, shall not be infringed. In other words, law-abiding American citizens can legally own a gun for whatever purpose they see fit, whether it be hunting, sport, or their own protection. Today, many American citizens and politicians believe that this right is responsible for most of the violence in our country. They believe that if there were stricter gun control laws, these laws would help cut down on the violence. First, let me explain what gun control is. According to an article on the New York Times, gun control covers any sort of restriction on firearms that can be bought or sold, where you can store them, who can possess or sell them, how you can carry them, etc. There have been many instances in the past where gun control was simply not as effective as it should have been. Let's talk about some of those instances. Let me share with you some facts I found on Forbes.com. There have been a total of 777 recorded shootings in New York City from January the 1st to the end of July, which is more than New York City had in all of 2019. More than 240 people have been killed, and more than 1,000 shootings have been recorded in Philadelphia as of August. In Chicago, there have been 440 homicides and 2,240 people shot in the first 7 months of 2020. Now listen to this. According to WorldPopulationReview.com, New York, Pennsylvania, and Illinois are among the top 12 states with the most strict gun control laws. Now that I've talked about some of the broader range of gun violence, let's talk about a more specific kind, mass shootings. I found an article on BusinessInsider.com that has a list of the deadliest mass shootings in modern American history. The top 5 are the Route 91 Harvest Festival in Las Vegas, Nevada, the Pulse nightclub in Orlando, Florida, Virginia Tech University in Blacksburg, Virginia, a First Baptist Church in Sutherland Springs, Texas, and Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newtown, Connecticut. Connecticut and Nevada both have relatively strict gun control laws, being numbers 3 and 16 respectively on the list on WorldPopulationReview.com. Florida, Virginia, and Texas all have less strict gun control laws, but let's look at the places it happened. In Texas, the shooting was at a small town church where most people probably weren't carrying their guns. In Virginia, the shooting was at Virginia Tech campus, also where guns aren't allowed. Which brings me to my third point. A good guy with a gun stops a bad guy with a gun. There's an article on BBC.com that talks about a shooting that occurred on December the 29th, 2019 in White Settlement, Texas. A man named Keith Thomas Kinnunen opened fire in the West Freeway Church of Christ, killing 2 people. There's no telling how many more he would have killed if a man named Jack Wilson, an armed member of the church, stood up and fired a single shot, killing Kinnunen. Another article on projects.dailynews.com talks about when 2 men, Larry Phillips Jr. and Emil Matasaronou, attempted to rob the Bank of America in North Hollywood, California. According to the article, they walked out of the bank with the money and opened fire on the crowds and the police that was trying to stop them. The LAPD fired shots, but it didn't do much damage because of their heavy armor they were wearing. After a little while, the SWAT team showed up and ended it all. As you can see, Gun control usually does little to nothing for reducing gun crime. Criminals are criminals. They don't obey the law, and outlawing guns will do nothing but take away the right to bear arms from the law-abiding citizens of America. A bunch of big-name politicians will make the statement that guns kill people. Well, if that's true, do cars cause wrecks? Do pencils misspell words? I've been around guns all my life, and not once has any of my guns walked up to somebody and shot them. Cars don't cause wrecks, pencils don't misspell words, and guns do not kill people.